In this lesson, the 5 C's of communication. Hello, welcome to this lesson on the 5 C's of communication. The 5 C's we're going to talk about are clarity, concise, concrete, correct, and complete. So let's take a look at the first one, clarity. There are some variations, by the way, on the 5 C's that people list. So for some people, for example, they use the word clear instead of the word clarity. But whether you use clarity or clear, it's in effect going to be the same thing. The first thing I would recommend to consider is who your audience is. Who are you talking to and what discourse do they understand? So who are you talking to, whether it's an individual or group, and what terminology and way of speaking do they normally have? For example, if you are providing training, for example, to a group of doctors, then using medical terminology and expressions makes sense to them, and your audience will understand these terms. If your audience were not doctors and you use medical terminology, it's not going to make so much sense for them. So think about who you are talking to. Also try to answer directly, because many of us often make mistakes by inadvertently answering the questions we want to answer rather than the question that we actually were asked. We are often too busy thinking of what we want to say rather than actively listening and hearing the question asked. So try to actively listen and answer directly. So instead of saying, "We need this by Thursday," you could say, "I need this report by 3 p.m. on Thursday so that I can send it to senior management." So that second example, it's very clear. Okay, let's take a look at the next C, concise. For concise communication, the second of the 2 C's, it is about trying to leave less room for misunderstanding. So many of us, myself included, often try to over-explain things, and this can lead to confusion. What you can do is try to cut out unnecessary words and phrases that simply dilute your main points. If you are also using visuals, such as PowerPoint, to communicate to people, such as if you're providing training or doing a meeting, then try using basic bullet points, because that can help too. Concrete communication. So this is the third of the 5 C's of communication. Excuse me. So when we talk about concrete, let's think about a solid brick wall. If you can imagine a wall, a solid brick wall. So something that is very concrete and a solid foundation. So for communication, framing abstract ideas with easy to understand, tangible examples can really help. Let me give you an example. So instead of saying the system needs to be more efficient, you could say, "We're aiming to reduce processing times from 2 hours to 30 minutes. You're given a very solid, a very definite, concrete piece of information. You're communicating this very concrete. Instead of saying, also, you could say, "Our products are very high quality," but you could say instead, "Our products undergo 3 levels of stringent quality checks," when trying to explain about the quality of your product to a customer, for example. Let's take a look at the next C. The next C is correct. It's important to also provide accurate and correct information, especially if you're looking to build trust with people, whether it's a customer, colleagues, people you manage, or even friends. Building trust is going to create better relationships. So being honest and accurate makes it far easier to build trust. So with this in mind, it can be worth double checking the facts and figures and other information, especially if you're holding a business meeting or team meeting, for example. Furthermore, it can be worth considering the relevance of the information you are sharing. Do they need to know this information? So that I would also consider. And the final of the 5 C's is complete. Communication overall is not just about the what, but also about the why, how, and when. So are you communicating all the points you need to or have been asked? Did you answer all questions? If you're in a meeting or if you're teaching, one way to try to ensure that you cover everything is to use a communication checklist that you could create. You might also want to think about typical questions people are likely to ask and have responses prepared so that you can more fully communicate whatever topic it is that you're training or holding a meeting on. Okay, that's a very brief introduction to the 5 C's. Final thoughts. In the next lesson, it's going to be a lesson on what is micro-learning. So thank you for watching this video. I would be so grateful if you would subscribe to this channel. If you're on the website, then you can subscribe on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. See you soon.